Hello everyone, welcome back to Hacking with Ken. So today we are going to be talking about why Linux is so much better than Windows. There are a lot of things that Linux does so much better than Windows. So we are going to talk about it. So the first thing I would like to say is free and open source. The main characteristic of Linux is that it's free and it's open source. Like most of the distros out there, most of the distros out there are free and open source. Anyone can download it for free and anyone can modify it according to their needs and then re-upload it as their own Linux. No one will copyright you. Of course, you just can't download ParaOS and make some customization and call it Para 2.0 released by you. No, you cannot do that. But you can modify the Linux kernel and create your own Linux. So basically, most Linux operating systems are free, the distributions are free, so you can use them without any paying anything. But some of Linux distros are paid, which you need to pay for, like Red Hat operating system, and I think so there are others too, like Zorin. Zorin OS is probably paid a little bit. So this is the first characteristic why you should be starting your way into the Linux, because it's free. It's a free real estate, as the guy said. So don't start your journey into the world of computers with Windows. So the second thing is I would like to talk about is its customization. You can customize Linux to your needs. I can do so much better now. I don't want it here. I don't want something here. I can move it. And there are a lot of desktop environments to choose. I use Genome on Kali Linux. This may answer some of the question. I use Kali Linux and I use Genome environment. Okay, I don't use KDE or anything. I hate KDE. So Genome, KDE, XFC, Cinnamon, and in Arc there is Wayland. I guess I didn't see correctly, it was Wayland or something like that. But they are literally cool operating system, to be honest. And let me show you one thing that this, look at this interface. How can you not deny that interface? How? Windows is just like you have a window button here. You can customize the toolbar, you can move it here, but you can never make taskbar look like this. In Genome it's by default, but you can make it look like this even in KDE. So there are a lot of customization going on. I can go ahead and choose applications from here, and most of the applications are by categorized, and it's really good thing. So if I want to do let's say internet services and stuff like that, let's go over here, system services. I can choose some system services. We have like Kali, and then I will go into the usual application. There is no usual application. Wow, really. So we have a lot going on here. If you go into the favorites, my favorites are these. I mainly use Firefox and I use terminal a lot, because Linux is nothing without its terminal. You have to learn terminal if you want to get onto Linux. And the next best thing is a lot of choices, a lot of distributions. If I get bored of Kali Linux, I can choose our 500 plus distros. I don't know, last time someone told me that there are literally 1,000 plus distros out there, and I can believe that the open sourceness and this characteristic of Linux is really spark up the developer to create their own operating system. So there should be 1,000 plus operating system. There can be, and there are a lot of distributions to choose. If I get ever bored of Kali Linux, I can just go over and install ParaOS or install Backbox or install Black Arts Linux. I can download any distro of Linux and I can install it. It's a free real estate. Most of the Linux I told you are free, so you can just download it, customize to your own needs, and then boom, it's free real estate and you can do whatever you want. So this is literally best thing, I guess, for a lot of distribution to choose. I mean, in Windows you just have Windows 10, 8, 8.1, 7, XP, 2000, NT, and 98, and boom, just this. You cannot like choose. I mean, we have, let's count it: Arc, Black Arch, Manjaro, Kali, Paradise, Backbox, and let's go on: Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Xbuntu, and let's go on. Let's not stop here. I literally forgetting the others. The Garuda Linux was one of my favorite. The, I don't know, Nix OS, it's Endeavor OS, and the list goes on and on. So my guys, the list goes on and on, and really we really have a lot of choices here, to be honest. The next best thing about Linux is its terminal. I mean, there might be command prompt on Windows, but that makes things too easy. But in Linux, the terminal does most of the work. I mean, if you have to install something, you actually have to go into the terminal and you can install it. Okay, and there are a lot of cool stuff you can do in terminal, like you can read files, you can delete files, you can copy and move. Of course, you can do that if you have a 2i version of Linux installed. You can do that by copying and pasting using clicks, but it's so much better to deal in the terminal. I mean, let me show you. Let me just type a simple command, ls. This will show us the files and directories that are present in our current directory. Let's type ls-la. This will list and show us the hidden files. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, and we have a lot of shells here. We can choose bash, zsh. I'm currently using zsh, and we can do a lot of fun commands. We can do a lot of stuffs in terminal. We can copy using cp. Sorry about that. Here is cp. We can copy using mv, and we can copy using we can copy using cp and move through mv, and we can delete using rm. So here we go, the rm. Okay, so we can do a lot of cool stuffs using the terminal, and there are a lot of applications like Terminator, which makes you look like a hacker. So it seems professional. You see a lot of people doing work on the terminal. Then why don't you start working on the terminal like right now? I mean, I challenge you to work on the terminal of Linux. You will. Linux is just like a rabbit hole. I mean, I was talking to my professor once, and he told me Linux is just like a rabbit hole. Once you go in, there's no backing out. And I heard that like 4 years ago, and I'm using Linux since it's been 4 years, and I'm using Linux. I mean, I never turned to Windows. I don't remember when the last time I used Windows. I mean, I used it on my friend's computer, but for my personal use, I don't remember. I don't know. It's been 4 years since I used Windows on my laptop. So basically, I'm using Linux now, and it's a deep rabbit hole I fell in, and I do not regret it. I literally love every moment of it. So the let's close it. The terminal is not the difficult thing that you need to get a hold of. I mean, yeah, people say commands are terrifying. No, why? Commands are not terrifying. I mean, cp, it's literally the small version of copy, and mv, a small version of moving. What's difficult about that? Yeah, commands can get difficult. So I don't know why don't you start with basic, then go into the advanced. If you learn the basic, there's no way that you're not learning Linux. There is. I mean, you will learn Linux if you learn the basics of it. The basics of it are really easy to learn. You can learn that, like, I mean, I know there are a lot of tutorials out there. You can watch my playlist, Linux for Linux administration. You can watch my playlist. Also, I'm launching a course on Udemy soon enough on Linux administration. You can go ahead and watch that. You can buy that, of course. So I will make it free. So once I complete the course, I will announce it. So, I mean, learning Linux is not hard as people make it so. So, the next best thing that I like about Linux is that it's not, constant updates, the annoying updates. Like, ever remember when you want to play your favorite game, you just turn on your computer, and there it is, the Windows logo telling you that it's updating itself right now. No, the whole day is ruined. Well, the Linux doesn't do that. Linux doesn't ruin your whole day with constant nagging annoying updates. Why it seems like I'm really hating Windows. So Linux doesn't do that. Linux gave you an option. If you want to update your system, you can. If you don't want to, there is no need. Okay. If you don't want to, the applications would work just fine. Except few applications which require new updates, they will ask you to update but you can update them, and some application may update themselves from within. So, but Linux won't ask you to update the system like it's a constant nagging, annoying like Windows do. So sometimes you're working and Windows just starts its update. It's really great, really great annoying thing, and Linux doesn't do that. So you there's another reason you have to choose Linux over Windows. The other reason is that Linux is professional. When you step into the world of professionalism in CS and IT or cybersecurity, everyone asks if you learn Linux, if you know if you know Linux operating system. And if you don't know, you will probably get mocked at not learning Linux. So I better suggest that you learn Linux like right now. So it's not hard, and I'm not promoting my own course. It's not like I'm telling you to just go watch my playlist to get a hold of Linux. No, this video is for those who think Windows is better than Linux. Yeah, Windows is sometimes better than Linux. I mean, you can play games, you can run exe on it, yeah, but Linux is a lot better. Your Android devices uses Linux kernel, are based on Linux kernel, and a lot of things out there that uses Linux. So I mean, if you want to get entertainment, go ahead with Windows. If you want to get real knowledge, if you want to learn real about computers and stuff, then I suggest Linux is the best way. Linux like teach you the best of the hardware. The whole Linux is mine. I can literally do anything here. There is no one stopping me from, like, preventing me from not doing anything. I can just turn into a root and purge everything in Linux. No one will stop me. But in Windows, I don't think so. There are a lot of things going on. So yeah, but still, these both operating system are in the world. But I would say, if you want to start your career in IT, CS, cybersecurity, data science, or any field, I think you should go with Linux over than Windows. I will recommend that, and you will not regret it. Trust me. But if you're a simple employee of IT support or tech support, yeah, you should know a little bit about Linux. But then, if you do office work, then I think Windows is probably better for you. So this whole game just goes on and on, and I will just end this by saying this next feature of Linux, which is that Linux is more stable than Windows. And I've seen it with my own eyes. Linux is a lot stable than Windows. Linux just doesn't shut down in the middle of your working. I mean, sometimes the applications get stuck. Of course, it depends upon your computer. The application gets stuck, they stop responding. It doesn't mean that Windows have to show a blue screen of death to you, but Linux doesn't do that. If you just wait 5 to 10 minutes, Linux will just close the processes automatically and will restore the system back to you. It will not like just shut down in the middle of anything. I mean, in my four years of experience with Linux, I never seen anything like Linux just shut down on me while I was working on something. I mean, yeah, sometimes the application stopped responding, but I waited for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then Linux fixes itself. So I mean, it doesn't turn itself on and doesn't give up on you. So I would say, yeah, and there is something that which Linux distro you should use as a beginner. So I mean, if you want to learn Linux then I would say go for Big Linux. I will make a video on it. Big Linux is a very good operating system, and with the vast variety of applications in it. And just search it, just type Big Linux, and you will just Google it, and you will see what I'm talking about. It's literally one of the best operating system of Linux I've ever seen. It's the most advanced Linux operating system I've ever seen, to be honest, in my life. It's based on Web 3.0. 3.0, my guys, 3.0, and it runs web apps. I mean, not that kind of web. Just use it. You will get the you will get what I'm talking about. I mean, there are a lot of Android applications pre-installed in Big Linux. You will see for yourself, and it's a lot good operating system. And one day I will make a video on Big Linux, and I will show you its feature. But right now we are stuck just with general Linux, and I will make a video on Kali Linux, why you should use Kali Linux instead of ParrotOS or things like that, because Kali does some things better than ParrotOS do. So I think this is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video.